Hey guys, welcome to the video about where we're going to disassemble this whole van. So this is a video at the end of the van, and I just want to give you all a heads up that this video was just a compilation of clips that I've recorded from the start of this project, documenting all the disassembly. So there's not any particular rhyme or reason. I try to document some things along the way, just things that are noteworthy or interesting. But it is sporadic and all over the place, and I've been recording it probably slowly over the past 4 months now. So just take note, and that I know that it's sporadic, but anyhow, it might be helpful to somebody. Alrighty, take care. Alrighty guys, this is going to be a short clip introducing this video. We are going to start gutting the van. So by that, what I mean is we're going to start getting it ready to sandblast and paint. So that means all these all this carpet's coming off, both on the floor and on the walls, and get this all down to bare metal. We're taking the heater out because we're going to be replacing it with a vintage air system, which is going to do both heat and air. We'll end up pulling all the parts of the dash and the gauges and everything. This whole unit is coming out up here. We're just going to go back to the bare metal. The sunroof is going to come on out. And we're going to end up welding in a patch for that, so we just are back to a flat roof. And all these windows are going to start coming out, the ceiling and all the upholstery, all these boxes and bench seats, this plywood floor, the whole 9 yards. So we're going to start getting her down to bare bones, and by the end of this video, we should be just about ready to sandblast. Alright guys, it's been a few hours, and definitely made some headway getting this thing torn apart. Focused on the up front here and getting that CB unit out, and I got the sunroof out. And I gotta say, the electrical up there was a pretty big mess, so it's good to get that out. I'm kind of resolved to rewire this whole van from start to finish anyhow. I did that with my 1950 Chevy truck, and that's worked out pretty good so far, and it's a year and a half later. Get swapped over to modern fuses, or at least 90s fuses, to say the least, instead of the old glass fuses. And so we'll keep at it again soon, but it looks like it's pretty good behind all of that. Metal's still real clean. So since we got that head unit out, it looks like we'll be able to we found the holes to re-add the sun visors back, so we can do that as well. So when we get ready to put this back together, I'm not going to put on this wood. I want a little bit more headroom in here. So that wood will not be going back, and we'll instead reupholster to this point right here. So anyhow, I'll post when I get another update. Alright guys, making a little bit more progress. We just got another section of ceiling down, and I'm pleasantly surprised to realize that there's a lot more headroom in here than I originally expected. Between the thickness of this with the padding and these studs up here, taking down the ceiling is going to give us a lot more headroom. So that was something I was nervous about before, because when I would sit on the bench here, I couldn't sit upright without hitting my head on it. So anyhow, that's some good news. So we're working on getting a little bit more electrical done, and we'll keep on tearing out. All right, guys, making a little bit more progress on the gutting of the van. When we pulled everything out up here, we noticed there's some of the wood was rotten up here, and it looks like we have a decent amount of rot up in here. You can see some rust starting to form up here, so that tells me that the gutters definitely need to be resealed, which I would have assumed anyhow, but it's definitely a little bit more urgent. So I think it looks like we got to this van just in time. So hopefully it shouldn't be too much of an issue, but a little bit of seam sealer should certainly make a big difference. So all right, we're gonna go ahead and keep cutting. All right, guys, we're making some pretty good progress with the tear out. We're almost there. We got the, we just have these doors left over here to get that off. We got the 2 front doors to gut. We just finished gutting all the wires that were in here. Most of them were all either taped together or wire tied together, or wire nut, I mean, together, so they're not very good. So the last thing we have to take out up front is going to just be that heater that's left. Now, I did decide to save the old wiring harness. I don't think I'm going to use it for anything, but I did save it just in case I had any special odds and end connections. Same thing for the headlight switch and all that. I think we're going to probably switch to aftermarket, but we'll have to see. I'll have a better idea once we get closer to actually wiring it up. But in the meantime, we'll save everything because it doesn't hurt. So, all right, I'll document once we get the heater out. All right, guys, so next we're going to go ahead and get this window regulator out. We got the rest of it cleaned up. Get the window regulator out. You got 3 screws and bolts to take out. So you got this 1 bolt down here. You have another screw that's going to be somewhere right about in here. Another one that's going to be somewhere about up here. I'll show you over on this other side, which I've already done. So that was the screw that was right here. And this is the little screw that was up top. See about where that was? And this is where that bolt was. So we're going to go ahead, undo those 3 things, and then we're going to tilt this glass back like this, and it should come right on out. So all right, and next we're going to go ahead and take the glass out. So now that that's out, that's pretty easy. All you're going to do is rotate the glass up like this. You can slide it right on out of that regulator. Like so. All right, and we'll go on to the locks from there. And just in case it's helpful for anybody, here's the directions from the manual. So you have there at the front glass. Good diagram there showing the how it all goes together. This is for the front glass there. So anyhow, just wanted to share that with you. Now moving on, we're getting ready to do the locks. So to do the locks, they give us these are the manual pages for that. This is a great diagram showing how they work, along with the rotor. But we're going to go ahead and start trying to get this stuff disconnected. So first we're going to start by removing the lock itself, which is this part right here. So we're going to go ahead and remove this link that goes from here, from the cylinder link to lock link. Anyway, it goes from up here down to here. And we'll remove this from here and here, and remove this pin to go up there. Our goal is just to strip this whole thing. So we're taking the whole thing out. But just in case you were curious about operational procedures. It's kind of hard for me to film in there, but I will try and get you up in there just so you can see a little bit. Where am I at? So we got to remove this bar here, And then here's our lock assembly down here. So we got to remove that bar back there. This is actually already disconnected, it looks like, just floating around. And there's one other thing that I can tell is disconnected. So anyway, we're gonna work on that and just getting this all out. So, and then for removing this front lock up here, the push button, you have these two screws right through here and here. So that makes that pretty easily. And then for removing this lock right here, there's a retainer pin. You can see it up there. So you're gonna push on that part back there and push the retainer that way. And that's gonna be what releases the lock. So, all right, I'm gonna record a time lapse, but I don't know how much you'll actually be able to see. Alright guys, so I'm doing these pop-out windows now. I already did the ones on the door without the camera on because I forgot. But they're pretty straightforward. You can see that there's just these two bolts. That's all that hold these on. On the doors, they're kind of recessed in. You need a socket to get to them. But pretty straightforward. Now when I was doing the doors, two of the nuts were welded or rust welded onto them. So the bolts the threads broke right off. So I'm gonna have to try and track down two more of those, or otherwise I'm gonna have to try and figure out some way to weld studs back on these, which is not, which I could probably figure out, but I got a couple of people bringing me some parts soon, so hopefully I can find some from them. But just be careful of that because these are fragile. Alrighty, so I got those out, and this is what I was warning about. You can see how this one broke right off here. So, I mean, I think conceivably there's a way that we could pull this off and weld a stud on here if we have to. But I'm going to reach out and see if I can find someone who has 3 of those. So. Alright guys, so I'm working on taking out these windows. I'm trying to save these seals because they still feel very loose, like they're pretty fresh. And I can't seem to find anywhere to get these seals online. So I'd have to make something custom. So in an effort to avoid that, I'm going to try and save them. So I found a video online. It's pretty straightforward. But it looks like what they would do to try and save a seal is they would take these plastic scrapers or tools or pry tools or whatever you want to call them. They get them up, so you'd fold the lip down, you'd get one up underneath pretty good, and then you would work your way down. So got one in there. It gets easier the further you've got it. And so once you get to about a point like that, it becomes a little bit easier to try and push this underneath so that it actually flips over to the other side of the lip. Like so. So once you have that, you can start pulling these out. Work your way on down. Now, if your seals are real firm, you're not going to be able to do this, obviously. Requires seals that are pretty pliable. But if your seals are real old, it's probably worth it to replace them anyway. Like so. Pretty straightforward. So I'm going to do that for this window right here. And then this window over here is shattered. I don't know how good the seal is. I know the new window I got shipped from somebody did have a seal still on it. And the only other window we have is this front windshield, and this is totally shot. So we're going to go ahead and replace that. So we're just going to cut that out. But that should be a little bit more straightforward. All right, guys, we're going to go ahead and get this old windshield out now. So what we're going to do is there's this bead that goes inside here. We're going to pull that out all the way around. It's cracked, so it's in a bunch of different sections, which is not how it's supposed to be. But we're going to get those all removed and see if we can get this pulled. All right, guys, so that's just about going to conclude us for disassembly. We have a little bit of hardware still to take off of these doors and stuff like that, but that's pretty straightforward. I'm going to do that off camera. And then I have some patch-in welding to do all around, just like the little corners in here now that I have the windshield out. This in here, up here, these little holes back here, as I've mentioned probably several times now. Still got to pull that window out, but I know that's going to shatter and make a mess, so... And then as far as the external, we're just about ready for sandblast and paint. Inside, I still have some cleanup to do, and I'll document that in a separate video. I'm going to make supports for to hold my plywood. That's going to be our that's going to get upholstered and for our trim. But we have to wait for our trim to come in around where the windows are, so that way I know what I'm working with, the height and all that, and that's not going to come until mid-June. So I'm going to do a little bit of patch-in work and the like, but again, I don't think you guys need to see any of that because you've seen most of that already. So I'll be back at you again when we're ready to do the, like I said, patch in some of the interior stuff. Oh, and we still got to make the brackets that go across to support our flip-down seats in the trunk. And I think, so anyway, next video will be welding on the interior. And then after that, hopefully the next video is going to be us sandblasting and painting. So, alrighty guys, I'll catch you up again soon.